Jai Sitaram. Balakand, chapter 47. So far we have seen that due to the churning of the ocean, Ditit is very angry with King Indra of the celestials, and she asks her husband Kashyapa Muni to give her a son who is capable of killing Indra. And Valmiki Ramayana merely specifies that she took that ritual for 1000 years. After 990 years, she fell asleep, wherein her hair touched her feet, and thus the birth of the Maruts took place. And we have seen this in greater detail. Now, it is necessary for us to understand how Srimad Bhagavatam has explained this. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 18, verse 37, it is mentioned that Ditit approaches Kashyapa Muni to obtain a son who is capable of killing Indra because Lord Vishnu had already killed her sons Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha for Indra. So this is what Ditit says, Ditir uvacha vardo yadi me brahman putram indrahanam vrane amrityam mritya putraham yena me gatitau sutau. Ditit replied, O my husband, O great soul, I have now lost my sons. If you want to give me a benediction, I ask you for an immortal son who can kill Indra. I pray for this because Indra, with the help of Vishnu, has killed my two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. In Valmiki Ramayana, we see that Ditit approaches her husband after the churning of the ocean, whereas over here it is slightly different. In the next verse, it is mentioned, upon hearing Ditit's request, Kashyapa Muni was very much aggrieved. Alas, he lamented, now I face the danger of the impious act of killing Indra. And in the next verse, Kashyapa Muni thought, alas, I have now become too attached to material enjoyment. Taking advantage of this, my mind has been attracted by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a woman, my wife. Therefore, I am surely a wretched person who will glide down towards hell. In 6.18.40, Kashyapa Muni continues, this woman, my wife, has adopted a means that follows her nature, and therefore she is not to be blamed. But I am a man, therefore all condemnation upon me. I am not at all conversant with what is good for me, since I could not control my senses. I promised to give her a benediction, and this promise cannot be violated. But Indra does not deserve to be killed. In these circumstances, the solution I have is quite suitable. In verse 44, Sukadev Goswami says, Kashyapa Muni, thinking in this way, became somewhat angry. Condemning himself, O Maharaja Parikshit, descendant of Kuru, he spoke to Ditit as follows. Kashyapa Muni said, my dear gentle wife, if you follow my instructions regarding this vow for at least 1 year, you will surely get a son who will be able to kill Indra. However, if you deviate from this vow of following the Vaishnava principles, you will get a son who will be favorable to Indra. Ditit replied, my dear Brahmana, I must accept your advice and follow the vow. Now let me understand what I have to do, what is forbidden, and what will not break the vow. Please clearly state all this to me. Kashyapa Muni said, my dear wife, to follow this vow, do not be violent or cause harm to anyone. Do not curse anyone and do not speak lies. Do not cut your nails and hair and do not touch impure things like skulls and bones. My dear gentle wife, never enter the water while bathing, never be angry, and do not even speak or associate with wicked people. Never wear clothes that have not been washed properly, and do not put on a garland that has already been worn. Never eat leftover food. Never eat prasada offered to the goddess Kali or Durga. Do not eat anything contaminated by flesh or fish. Do not eat anything brought or touched by a Shudra, nor anything seen by a woman in her menstrual period. Do not drink water by joining your palms. After eating, you should not go out to the street without having washed your mouth, hands, and feet. You should not go out in the evening or with your hair loose, nor should you go out unless you are properly decorated with ornaments. You should not leave the house unless you are very grave and are sufficiently covered. You should not lie down without having washed both of your feet or without being purified, nor with wet feet or with your head pointed west or north. You should not lie naked or with other women or during the sunrise or sunset. Putting on washed clothing, being always pure, and being adorned with turmeric, sandalwood pulp, and other auspicious items before breakfast, one should worship the cows, the brahmanas, the goddess of fortune, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, ornaments, and other paraphernalia, a woman following this vow should worship women who have sons and whose husbands are living. The pregnant wife should worship her husband and offer him prayers. She should meditate upon him, thinking that he is situated in her womb. Kashyapa Muni continued, if you perform this ceremony called pumsavana, adhering to the vow with faith for at least 1 year, you will give birth to a son destined to kill Indra. But if there is any discrepancy in the discharge of this vow, the son will be a friend to Indra. O King Parikshit, Ditit, the wife of Kashyapa, agreed to undergo the purificatory process known as pumsavana. Yes, she said, I shall do everything according to your instructions. With great jubilation, she became pregnant, having taken semen from Kashyapa, and faithfully began discharging the vow. O king, who are respectful to everyone, Indra understood Ditit's purpose, and thus he contrived to fulfill his own interests. Following the logic that self-preservation is the first law of nature, he wanted to break Ditit's promise. Thus he engaged himself in the service of Ditit, his aunt, who was residing in an ashrama. Indra served his aunt daily by bringing flowers, fruits, roots, and wood for yajnas from the forest. He also brought kusha grass, leaves, sprouts, earth, and water exactly at the proper time. O Parikshit, as the hunter of a deer becomes like a deer by covering his body with deer skin and serving the deer, so Indra, although at heart the enemy of the sons of Ditit, became outwardly friendly and served Ditit in a faithful way. Indra's purpose was to cheat Ditit as soon as he could find some fault in the way she discharged the vows of the ritualistic ceremony. However, he wanted to be undetected, and therefore he served her very carefully. O Master of the entire world, when Indra could find no faults, he thought, how will there be good fortune for me? Thus he was full of deep anxiety. Having grown weak and thin because of strictly following the principles of the vow, Ditit once unfortunately neglected to wash her mouth, hands, and feet after eating and went to sleep during the evening twilight. Finding this fault, Indra, who has all the mystic powers, the yoga siddhis such as Anima and Laghima, entered Ditit's womb while she was unconscious, being fast asleep. After entering Ditit's womb, Indra, with the help of his thunderbolt, cut into 7 pieces her embryo, which appeared like glowing gold. In 7 places, 7 different living beings began crying. Indra told them, do not cry, and then he cut each of them into 7 pieces again. O king, Being very much aggrieved, they pleaded to Indra with folded hands, saying, "Dear Indra, we are the Maruts, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us?" When Indra saw that actually they were his devoted followers, he said to them, "If you are all my brothers, you have nothing more to fear from me." Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, you were burnt by the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, but when Lord Krishna entered the womb of your mother, you were saved. Similarly, although the embryo was cut into 49 pieces by the thunderbolt of Indra, they were all saved by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original person, even once, he receives the benefit of being promoted to the spiritual world and possessing the same bodily features of Vishnu. Ditit worshipped Lord Vishnu for almost 1 year, adhering to a great vow. Because of such strength in spiritual life, the 49 Maruts were born. How then is it wonderful that the Maruts, though born from the womb of Ditit, became equal to the demigods by the mercy of the Supreme Lord? Because of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ditit was completely purified. When she got up from bed, she saw her 49 sons along with Indra. These 49 sons were all as brilliant as fire and were in friendship with Indra, and therefore she was very pleased. Thereafter, Ditit said to Indra, "My dear son, I adhered to this difficult vow just to get a son to kill you 12 Adityas. I prayed for only one son, but now I see that there are 49. How has this happened? My dear son Indra, if you know, please tell me the truth. Do not try to speak lies." Indra replied, "My dear mother, because I was grossly blinded by selfish interests, I lost sight of religion. When I understood that you were observing a great vow in spiritual life, I wanted to find some fault in you. When I found such a fault, I entered your womb and cut the embryo into pieces. First, I cut the child in the womb into 7 pieces, which became 7 children. Then I cut each of the children into 7 pieces again. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, however, none of them died. My dear mother, when I saw that all 49 sons were alive, I was certainly struck with wonder. I decided that this was a secondary result of your having regularly executed devotional service in worship of Lord Vishnu. Although those who are interested only in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not desire anything material from the Lord and do not even want liberation, Lord Krishna fulfills all their desires. The ultimate goal of all ambitions is to become a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If an intelligent person serves the most dear Lord, who gives himself to his devotees, how can he desire material happiness which is available even in hell? Oh, my dear mother, oh, best of all women, I am a fool. Kindly excuse me for whatever offenses I have committed. Your 49 sons have been born unhurt because of your devotional service. As an enemy, I cut them to pieces, but because of your great devotional service, they did not die." Shukadeva Goswami continued, Ditit was extremely satisfied by Indra's good behavior. Then Indra offered his respects to his aunt with profuse obeisances, and with her permission he went away to the heavenly planets with his brothers the Maruts. My dear King Parikshit, I have replied as far as possible to the questions you have asked me, especially in regard to this pure auspicious narration about the Maruts. Now you may inquire further and I shall explain more. Now we are going to go through Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, verse 19, wherein it is explained how Ditit, Kashyapa Muni's wife, executed Kashyapa Muni's instructions on devotional service. During the first day of the bright fortnight of the moon in the month of Agrahayana, that is November to December, every woman following in the footsteps of Ditit and following the instructions of her own husband should begin this pumsavana vrata. In the morning, after washing her teeth, bathing, and thus becoming purified, she should hear about the birth mystery of the Maruts. Then, covering her body with a white dress and being properly ornamented before breakfast, she should worship Lord Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu's wife by glorifying Lord Vishnu for his mercy, patience, prowess, ability, greatness, and other glories, and for how he can bestow all mystic benedictions. While offering the Lord all paraphernalia for worship, such as ornaments, a sacred thread, scents, nice flowers, incense, and water for bathing and washing his feet, hands, and mouth, one should invite the Lord with this mantra: Om Namah Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahanubhavaya Mahavibhuti Pataye Saha Mahavibhutibhir Balim Upaharami. Then one should offer 12 oblations in the fire while chanting this mantra: Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahavibhuti Pataye Svaha. One should offer obeisances while chanting this mantra 10 times. Then one should chant the Lakshmi Narayana mantra. If either a pregnant woman or her husband regularly discharges this devotional service, both of them will receive the result. After continuing this process for 1 full year, the chaste wife should fast on the Purnima, the full moon day of Kartika. On the following day, the husband should worship the Lord as before and then observe a festival by cooking nice food and distributing prasada to the brahmanas. Then, with the permission of the brahmanas, the husband and wife should take prasada. This chapter ends by glorifying the results of the pumsavana function. This is the conclusion of the narration of the Pumsavana Vrata as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the next section, we will go to Valmiki Ramayana, chapter 48. Jai Sitaram.